Hey Lou, it's Max. I wanted to show you what I pulled together on your mother's house on Jewel. Uh, I know that you mentioned that there was a family member interested in potentially purchasing purchasing this home from her, or purchasing her portion, uh, and I just wanted to provide you with this information so that she has a better understanding of the value that she has, to actually come up with exact value or the best market value assessment. I would need to visit the house to see the condition. So, um, dealing with family can sometimes be complicated and even more complicated than dealing with strangers. A lot of times, family members are looking for unrealistic deals and favors. I don't know the relationship between your mom and the family member that's interested in this house. Uh, I don't know any of that history. So I just want to provide you with this information so that your mom has a good idea of what her portion of the value is of this house so that she can make an educated decision how she wants to proceed. Uh, so I pulled up public records, and I'm going off of public records. I haven't laid eyes on the house, so I'm just assuming that these are correct. Three bedrooms, four baths, 2,200 square feet above ground ranch. And hopefully, this is the right address, and those are the correct names on the title that you recognize. It's got a big half-acre yard backing to that lake, and a little bit of history. So, what I'm looking at is it's got this half-acre lot, and it has that 2,200 square feet up, and it also has a big full basement that's under the whole house, uh, less the garage, I guess. Um, and that basement, according to public records, is not finished. So, some this is public records. There definitely can be some inaccuracies if permits weren't pulled to do some of the work. It's not going to show up. So they're just saying that it has that 2,200 up. It's got a full unfinished basement, and at any time during this presentation, you can hit pause and take a closer look at the documents that I'm presenting to you. So that's where I started. I started with public records so that I'd know what to look for comps. And then I went into the MetroList search engine, and pulled up homes that were comparable in size, 1,800 square feet or above, or larger, that were also ranches and in the geographic area within half of a mile or 1 mile diameter from the property on Jewel. So I was looking for comparable homes in the area. I did a real quick search, and because the that type of a house is not the common house, uh, there weren't a lot of hits. So I actually went back one full year to see what was out there. And so I came up with these four, but in actuality, two of these are the same house. So this house was purchased in late April 2017, at 395, and then they did a fix and a flip, and they sold it in late October the same year, 2017, for that improved price at 604. So that's the same house. So really, there's three comps in for your mom's house within a mile or half a mile radius. So all of them within half of a mile of your mom's house. So what I do is I take this information and I download it into my own spreadsheet, and that way I can do a manipulation of the information as far as coming up with the uh, averages and organize it in a little bit more palatable way. So out of these four, let's just call them four sales of three houses, there's only one that's currently active, and that's on Manor Lane. I'll go in depth on Manor Lane and give you some idea of what exactly that house is about and some of the details. But right now, let's just look at the raw bones of that house. 3 bedrooms, 5 baths. It's 800 square foot larger than your mom's above ground, and then it has 1,000 foot less in the basement, so 900 square feet less in the basement. And so the finished square footage on that house is 4,000 square feet finished, so it's almost double the house as far as finished size. If your mom's doesn't have a finish on the basement, uh, the current asking price is 935. Now they're not going to get that, would be my guess, because they've been on the market for uh, about 50 days and nobody's bought it. So that's long enough time in our current market that is seen to be as hot, 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 that if it's been on the market for 50 days, they're most likely, when they do sell it, somebody's going to come in at a lesser price than that. Now, again, I haven't looked at that house. I haven't been in there. I don't know exactly where they're at. That's the problem with with active properties, is those are not real numbers that we can rely on. The solds are real numbers that actually did sell, and we know that somebody was willing to pay this price. I'm not sure. Is this $935,000 pie in the sky for that property? It very well could be. So here's how it compares to your mom's house: 3 bedrooms, uh, one less bath than your mom's, if Public Records is right. 800 square feet smaller above ground. Uh, 1,800 square feet smaller as far as finish, but very similar in size. Uh, this one has a smaller basement, uh, and so those houses, when you add the basement to the above ground, very, very similar homes as far as size there. The basement is bigger by almost a little over 800 square feet. Um, there's the price, and this is the breakdown of the price. The price per square foot above grade, the price per square foot finished, and the price per square foot total. So this one is also on a full acre, and that adds definitely adds some value. Your mom's is actually on half an acre. Okay, so now if I go down to the sold properties and we look at those, sorry, I'm moving this quite a bit. Um, those are the two. So I'm only when I come up with these averages, I'm only going to use the bottom two. I'm not going to use uh, the Green Meadows property before it was fixed and then the Green Meadows property after it was fixed. I'm only going to use the value after it was fixed. So it looks like they added another bedroom when they did the fix, because it had 4, now it has 5. On average, those two properties, so it's not a great group of properties to compare. We don't have a vast amount of comps that we can come up with averages. There's really only two. Um, the above ground square footage on average is very comparable to your mom's. The finished square footage is a little bit larger than your mom's, but she if that basement is unfinished on Jewel, to me that has just as much value as an old finish. It's only going to be something that's a modern new finish on a 1963 or 68 house like your mom's, um, that is going to give it a lot of value. A lot of times those older finishes that were finished in the 60s or the 70s are out of date and almost a liability versus an asset to the house. So I'm not too worried about an unfinished basement, because it's a clean slate. Somebody can go in there and put a movie theater and all sorts of uh, things that wouldn't have been put in the 70s. So it's not a deal breaker at all. Um, the overall square footage, the total square footage, your mom's is a little bit larger than those two on average. Your mom's is larger, has a larger basement. And then the average price of those two. Now this is Green Meadows after it was fixed, and I'll go into some details about what it looked like once it was fixed. But on average is 550, let's call it. And then here's the average price above grade square footage, price per square foot finished, price per square foot total, and then the lot size. And I don't have this down here, but your mom's lot size is 24,002. So she's right at half an acre. And so she has a much larger lot. And then, of course, backing to the lake, there's definitely some value there. So it's a little bit, yeah, I'm going to have to see the property to come up with a real good estimate. But, she is on Jewel. The front yard is not ideal. It's a busy street, but the backyard is a wow. So, yeah. So if I go back to the MetroList, the MLS system, and I pull up these properties, the first one I want to pull up is this active property on Manor Lane. That's the one that's being offered at $900,000. And I want to just open up the photos and see. So if you look, it looks like this guy's a little bit of an island surrounded by a higher density. This one, Manor Lane, I think was 1963 is when it was built. Uh, but let's look at some of the pictures. So uh, again, you're gonna have a better idea of how this compares to your mom's house because I don't know. So not the, you know, that's uh, that's a $50 light fixture at Home Depot, but it does have a newer kitchen remodel which has that fake wood that is actually made out of tile, which is pretty popular right now. Granite countertops, cherry cabinets, stainless steel appliances. It looks like there's a field of travertine inside. So a higher labor intensive tile job. It's a nice tile job. This looks like marble on the backsplash. It's a nice kitchen remodel. There's a lake. Uh, oh, and here's the property right there. So it's very comparable to your mom's in that it does back to a lake. Uh, that looks like oak flooring that's been uh, stained a little bit dark. Kind of a mid-century modern looking house. Another drone shot. Nice size lot. So this one was the 1 acre where your mom's is half an acre. Both of them big yards. You know, both of them are nice size yards. A lot of exterior shots. So kind of a rougher area around the lake. I don't know what your mom's lake is like. New paint. Looks like they have new trim work. So they have a detached two-car garage here. I'm not sure if that is also another garage. Kind of mid-century. Nice, beautiful lot. You know, that kitchen doesn't look as big in some of the pictures as it does in others. So I think it doesn't have it's not a huge kitchen. That color is pretty rough. I guess that's the master because there's the bath right off of it. So this master, it's kind of a, it's a personal opinion on the color, but it's kind of a lower quality paint job when they paint the ceiling the same color as the walls. It's more stylish, let's say, and takes more labor to do a two-tone, do a white ceiling, and then whatever for the base. So I don't know, chicken coops maybe, sheds. That's the master bath, granite counters. It's nicely done if you like that paint color. So I'm looking at the detached garage here. Looks like you probably have some RV storage over here, similar to what your mom has. And so it looks like it's just surrounded by some higher density housing. This looks like a sunroom, possibly an addition, and that vent there is kind of hanging from the ceiling a little bit. Uh, so it's not perfect move-in condition. It needs maybe a little bit of loving. Big yard. That color's not what most people would want. That's pretty diplomatic. So to me, it looks like they're more proud of the exterior of this property than anything. They keep going back to that. So here you have a view of that detached garage. And my guess is I'm looking here and I can kind of see some windows here. So this used to be where the exterior of the house used to be this wall, and this was a patio that they eventually closed in. So I'm seeing kind of a mix of windows. Some of them were vinyl and some of them were wood. Somebody didn't get very good with cleaning the mirror. That is like an original configuration with those tiles. The grout is kind of dark and gross, and that's just a really narrow. I mean, I've been in those showers, and it's just dark, and that door is uh, tight. It's probably less than 24 inches, is my guess. So original equipment, they got it was a high quality house in its day, and some of that stuff is definitely coming back as far as the color schemes and the mid-century modern kind of a funk. Uh, and so this is another bathroom where they have done some remodeling, and all the mirrors in the glass, and they call that jungle or some kind of green. It's almost a travertine uh, style. Rainforest is what they call it, and it was popular. It's not as popular now. So I'd say it's kind of an older remodel on this house. So that's pretty much that house. So if I look at that, it just has a big old lot back into the pond, and it's 2-car detached garage. So this is the property on Green Meadows before it was fixed up. So it sold for right around $400,000, and this is in the before the fix-up condition. Has a swamp cooler on the roof, brick house. This is before, so it'll be interesting to see. Oh, let me go back. Yeah, that fireplace is right in the kitchen. Has the older mahogany kind of woodwork, the older vintage, 60s with wallpaper bathroom. I'm gonna flip through this kind of quick. Look like it has baseboard heating. Yeah, there's the shower. That's that dark shower, probably very comparable to the other one. Wow, that's this is the kitchen, so this is the eat-in area off the kitchen. It's pretty cool, it's vintage retro, but I'm kind of weird like that. Uh, a living room, maybe on the opposite side. I think that was a double-sided fireplace. This is the basement with the suspended ceiling and wood paneling and baseboard heat, tile floors. the vintage bar where you could set your foot on there and scoot up your uh, stool, very 70s ish. Painted uh, wood. So that's it. So if I go back and so let's look at that exact same house uh, with the fix up on it. So this is after the house was fixed up, and they got in a bidding war. They were asking $599, and they sold it for $604. So this is that same house after with nice professional photography. Looks like it has new windows in it. And so this is what they did. So there's a laminate type flooring in there. You know, they did a bunch of stylish stuff to it, and they have it staged. So they even resurfaced that fireplace. It was that rougher flagstone looking fireplace, and they did a marble tile, and they blew open the walls of the kitchen and kind of did the IKEA thing. It's kind of cool, but if you look at the cabinet space, you got very little, very little, very little right there. And you have just these three small ones. You got a bunch of drawers, which are nice here. Probably a couple things in this island, and then a little bit of a pantry there. So, but it really, stainless steel hood and a gas cooktop and stainless steel fridge and, higher end, let's just say. Um, Kitchen, there's the new windows. So this is a top load microwave, and it has kind of this farm sink. Very trendy, popular stuff at the moment. And they have that wooden wall on the back. So they just opened it up, made it into a great room. A real basic Home Depot uh, stuff here as far as the sink and just very Home Depot-esque. And that doesn't look like a new window to me. Maybe the master. That window, I'm getting a hard read on that window. It looks like it's not new. So then, really trendy stuff. The barn door, really a popular thing. So this is the master suite. Looks like you got a couple closets, a his and a hers closet there, and the master bath. This is the master bath, the funky tub, which is pretty small. And then this looks actually pretty small. That's no more than 36 by 36, and it might be less than that. And then the sink that is a bowl on top of the quartz countertop, pretty trendy, nice. I'm not trying to knock it. It's nice. And then the tile work is nice. I would rate the quality as 80, 85%, 100% being very, very expensive stuff. There's a secondary bath. This is the basement. So, oh man, it used to have the tile. Here's the backyard. You can get a size of the dimension of the backyard. A brick house. A nice big covered patio, but you don't have a lot of depth for your yard. For some people, that's okay. This is most likely the basement bathroom. Pretty nice, new stuff. This is basement. You can see they most likely added this egress window. Basement. And there's the other shot of the basement where my picture fell apart. So we've seen that house in its early state when it sold for 400, and this is in its final state when it sold for 604, $200,000 fix and flip. Obviously, it wasn't. They didn't put 200,000 into it. They made money. Uh, and this is the last one on Harlan Circle, and it's sold. They started on the market at 555, and they ended up selling it for 488. So they came down a lot. Uh, that's not the best scenario. The best scenario is to be at or slightly start at or slightly under market value and get in a bidding situation. So that's definitely one thing that you're not going to get with a sale between family members. You're not going to get in a multiple bidding situation that could bring the price up a lot. Um, as far as working with family members, I've been involved. I had some people, more than one, that brought me in for a sale between a father and a son. Now, I didn't charge them, full commission. I did a reduced commission, but even within a father selling his property to his son, he recognized the value of bringing me in and doing it the right way. I have a lot of ideas on how I would price this house, but I definitely have to come in, see what the house has. So these are plantation shutters. Keep in mind this sold for 488. The coffered ceiling, they upgraded that, and it has nice cherry looking on a diagonal. Wood floors, which isn't, I don't think those are original to the house. And then this light doesn't impress me that much. Here's the kitchen, cherry cabinets, white appliances. They got chickens around the border, and white tile countertops. That I would say is, they have nice cabinets, not so nice of countertops, and the floor is cherry also. So I would say it's an older fix or an older remodel. So this is a newer house. This was built in 2003, and you can see that that's with the vaulted ceilings and the natural open space. It hasn't been modified from when it was originally built 15 years ago. And because it's 15 years old, some of it is kind of becoming dated. A lot of the white stuff for sure, and there's more of those chickens on the wallpaper. Wallpaper's not really that popular. The plantation shutters and the coffered ceilings are an upgrade, but that light is not. It's a $20 light at the most. And then here's the master bath, and it has the brass frame, which is something that most people would rather not have. So in this master bath, uh, they have this brass and glass, the wallpaper. Most people are going to look at this as something that they would rather remodel than keep. And they own a lot of clothes. That was a silly picture. This kind of reminds me of old people. A lot of wallpaper. I'm not being discriminating because I'm an old person too, but So here's the garage, another silly photograph. Doesn't add any value to it. So some nice landscaping on the exterior. Uh, not much room, this is the backyard. And so it's backing, and it looks like there's either maybe a pond back there. We'll have to see. I'm sure they'll show it if it is. This is the front, landscaping, kind of some low maintenance stuff, but also the size is pretty small. Okay. So on my charts, I have all of the data on those properties. That last one was Harland, and what's the size of the lot? The size of the lot, it's the smallest lot out of all of them. Keeping in mind your mom's lot is the 2400. The other one that was bought as a fix and a flip is about half as big as your mom's lot, and then the other one that is currently for sale for 900 is twice as big as your mom's, back into that pond. So at this point, I can't really make an assessment of the value. I think that you have a closer idea because you know what your mom's property looks like, how it's been updated, how it compares to these. But if you want me to, especially, I think it might be vacant. If you want to meet me out there sometime, we could go grab something to eat or drink, and I could take a tour of it. I just want your mom to make sure that she's getting all of her value out of that property. And part of that would be to find fair market value so that she could figure out what her portion of that would be. So that's it, Lou. That's the property on Jewel. That's as far as I can go as far as establishing value. I'm just showing you the recent sales and recently what is on the market. If you want to give me a call, please do anytime. 303 726 0867.